Are you in need of a reliable surveillance system that's both robust and user-friendly? Well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at the powerful potential of ReoLink's flexible ecosystem. Designed to integrate flawlessly with a wide array of cameras, including their Duo series, the doorbell, and the new 4K RLC1212A. More than that, we unveil how ReoLink expands your security horizons, connecting effortlessly with smart home platforms such as Home Assistant for a fully informed and interactive experience. Join us as we navigate the ins and outs of this adaptable system, providing you with the knowledge to craft a tailored, intelligent security network within your home. So get ready to transform the way you monitor, manage, and meld your home security with the world of smart home technology. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan, and welcome to This Smart House, your go-to destination for exploring the cutting edge of smart home technology and diving deep into some of the most creative smart home projects that are out there. Now, in previous videos, I've taken you on a tour of the latest and greatest in smart home security cameras, sampling the innovative features of various brands with a special focus on ReoLink's offerings, including their versatile Duo series and the recent review I did on their Wi-Fi smart doorbell. But today we're going to be venturing into the hub of this ecosystem, their RLN8-410 NVR. Now I know that's a mouthful, but I'll guide you through its robust capabilities and show you how it becomes the command center for your security setup. So let's start by taking a closer look at the RLN8-410 NVR, the cornerstone of this security system. Now you'll notice the 8 in that RLN8 part number indicates the number of channels that this NVR has, meaning it can take up to 8 individual cameras. So on the front here, we'll notice a USB port for quick connections, an infrared receiver for remote control and ensuring ease of access, and the front buttons that provide you manual control without needing to use the mouse. Now around the back, we have a comprehensive set of connections, including an additional USB port, a VGA port, and HDMI. These last two being used to connect to an external monitor. So up here on top, we have an eSATA connection for connecting to an external hard drive to add even more storage. And below that, we have a gigabit Ethernet port to connect into your home's network. Over here on the end, we'll notice 8 individual PoE ports, which will allow you to provide power over Ethernet to all the cameras connected to the unit. So this makes setup a snap. And if you have non-Ethernet ReoLink cameras, you can still connect them to these ports. You'll just have to power them elsewhere. Now, the NVR isn't just about connectivity. It excels at continuous 24/7 recording, and of course it accommodates up to 8 cameras on this model, and there is a version that supports up to 16 cameras. Now this can be a mixture of PoE, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, and even doorbell cameras. But remember, any dual sensor cameras like the Duo series count as 2 individual cameras. So you can only have 4 Duo series cameras connected to this NVR. Now it is equipped with a 2 terabyte hard drive right out of the box, with support of up to a 6 terabyte eSATA connection hard drive to extend that even further. And if you're conscious about your space, you can activate motion detection recording, which instead of recording 24/7 will only record when the camera detects motion, or is set off with another means. Now, this NVR shines with both local and remote access. You can locally connect to a monitor or HD TV using the VGA or HDMI port to have a local split screen view, or you can remotely manage your security via the ReoLink app, their client on a computer, or through a web browser. And the NVR also integrates seamlessly with Home Assistant, allowing you for more granular control and use of sophisticated sensor data for home automations and security alerts, and compatibility with your other devices in your home. So camera compatibility is a key feature of this NVR, which is able to support ReoLink's full range of IP cameras, including the 4 megapixel up to the 12 megapixel 4K versions. And while this system is designed specifically for ReoLink cameras, I've seen some people online state that they can actually successfully integrate third-party cameras as long as they're properly configured and support the ONVIF protocol. Now you won't get access to all the advanced features of your third-party cameras like pan, tilt, or zoom, but most of those cameras can be supported in a 24/7 recording on the NVR. This NVR does work with both their wired and wireless cameras, but not the battery-powered ones. But this allows you to eliminate reliance on the individual SD card installed in various cameras, either the onboard SD card for backup recording and a cloud subscription if you want to, while it's not necessary with this device. Now that we've had an overview of how we can use the NVR to simplify our security needs, let's take a look at their new 4K camera. So taking a look at the ReoLink RLC1212A, this camera packs a punch with its 12 megapixel sensor, providing a crisp resolution of 4096 by 1284. And a smooth 24 frames per second, ensuring your footage is not just clear, but vibrant with natural colors, thanks to its f1.6 aperture that enhances low light performance. But when the sun goes down, the 1212A doesn't miss a beat. It offers color night vision, complemented by a built-in spotlight, or standard infrared night vision, which can be motion activated, scheduled, or turned off to adapt to various nighttime lighting conditions. The camera's intelligence extends to its AI-powered person and vehicle detection capabilities, significantly reducing the number of false alerts by accurately distinguishing humans and vehicles, and even animals, and not being set off by things like trees, bugs, or items blowing across your yard. Now this allows you to send customized notifications directly to the ReoLink app on your phone without the need for an additional subscription. The camera does have a time-lapse feature built in that creates creative snapshot sequences over a long period of time, but that feature is disabled when you connect it to an NVR. So if you use this camera standalone, you have access to it, but when it connects to the NVR, you do lose access to that extra feature. Now, in terms of audio, the 1212A stands in line with most cameras in the same marketplace, offering two-way audio for real-time communication through the device. But note, depending on where you install this, if it's too high up, most folks can't hear you anyway. But you are still able to monitor the audio in the area. Its wide field of view ensures that you have broad and comprehensive coverage of the area that you want to monitor. And flexibility in recording is also a hallmark of this camera. It supports various recording modes like 24/7 continuous recording on the SD card or the NVR, or you can move to motion-based triggering or scheduled recordings, or record based on different AI events. Now we've already covered some of the storage options with the ability to save videos directly onto the micro SD card, not included, but easily installed here on the back. You can of course connect it directly to a ReoLink NVR, or you can connect it into something like an FTP server, catering to different needs and preferences that you might have in your home or business. So just a quick reminder, if you found any value in today's video, it really helps to leave a thumbs up. That lets the YouTube bots know that folks have found a lot of help on this video. Plus be sure to subscribe for more great smart home content. So let's head into the office and we're going to talk about what options we have for setting up various cameras and how to get that done. All right, so we're back here in the office and I've got a quick demo set up over here. I would show you, but my desk is a disaster right now. So I've got the ReoLink NVR connected in to my recorder here, and then we're going to go through the different connection options that we have available. But first, let's check a couple settings that are very important to be able to get access to some of these additional features here in the next section. So first, in order to log into the NVR, you just have to click anywhere on the screen and you'll be prompted for a username and password. Now, it doesn't look like the NVR can take any sort of keyboard, so you have to use the on-screen keyboard with the included mouse. So once you're logged in, you'll have the ability to update the settings. So if you right-click on any of them, you'll see this little toolbar up here at the bottom. We can first go down here to settings. So in here is where you can change different streaming settings, display detection, things like that in this first options. So you can change your different sensitivity levels and set different time parameters. But first we're gonna go ahead and go to the channel settings here. So right here at the top is the first setting that says auto add. If this is activated, then if you connect a compatible camera, it'll automatically attempt to add it to the NVR. As you can see, all of mine are offline right now because I've got the NVR up here and not downstairs where all my Ethernet connections come back in. Now, most of your conventional settings can be set directly on the NVR, either using the mouse with a monitor or connected over the network once we enable the remote access for the HTTP and HTTPS. But you can only modify channel information like adding or removing cameras from the actual NVR. You cannot do this via the web interface, which is a bit of a bummer. So the critical setting we need to change here is under the network tab. We click that. So under the advanced tab, we need to click on the server settings option. So from here, we can enable different options that are required for connections to things like Home Assistant. So you need to make sure you have RTSP enabled and HTTPS enabled. This will let you communicate with the NVR via Home Assistant and also be able to stream video directly from here. You can also enable ONVIF if you want to. And even though this checkbox here for basic service is not activated, it's enabled by default. Then when you're done, go ahead and hit apply. And then under the network tab, when you go back, make sure you see the IP address of the NVR. That way we can access it and set it up later on. Under the storage tab, this would show you if you have any additional hard drives connected and allow you to format them and make sure they're properly connected. All right, so we'll hit the X and we'll head back to the main menu. All right, now on to our connection options for cameras to the NVR. So first of all, we're gonna start with the 4K camera connected directly to the NVR. Since I already have 4 different cameras configured on here, it doesn't automatically populate it. If I go down to display mode and click 8, then we'll see all of the cameras that are available, including this one right here. So this camera is fresh out of the box, and I've done nothing else except for plug it in. So as you can see with the ReoLink, it's immediately set up. No other additional information is needed. You don't even need to go in and configure username and password. It's all set up and ready to go. Now to configure this camera and its options, we can go ahead and click on it. We get some additional options here at the top where we can view recordings, check the playback options, stretch it to fit, zoom in, mute the audio, change our image settings, preview are on and off, so turn off the preview and just leave the channel available. We can activate the spotlight by clicking this button here, and we'll see now the spotlight's on. We can also set off the alarm or go into more configurations. So let's click on the camera and go to configuration. And in here, we'll see the current resolution of the stream, which is 4K, which is pretty impressive. And you'll notice at the top here, the IP address, which is on a different subnet than mine. Because the PoE ports actually have its own separate subnet, this is kind of hidden behind a different firewall. So again, you don't need to worry about any configuration once you get it plugged in. You can customize the name of the camera right here. And as you can see, it's currently running at 4K resolution at 20 frames per second. Luckily, you can change a lot of these additional settings when you're connected over the web interface, so you can use a full keyboard and mouse. But in this case, we're just using the camera connected, so we don't need to make any additional setting changes. So that's the simplest way to connect the camera. Now, kind of on the same pattern, if you have more than one camera that you want to attach at a single location, but you don't want to run multiple Ethernet cables, you do have the option of connecting in an additional power over Ethernet switch. Now, this can be just any standard off-the-shelf, inexpensive, unmanaged Ethernet switch, as long as it has power over Ethernet. A simple PoE switch that I got off of Amazon here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and connect in the NVR's output from one of the PoE ports directly to the uplink port here on the switch, and then I'm going to connect the camera into one of the additional ports. And you'll see it automatically will connect in, power up the camera, and the camera should show right back up on the NVR. And now you can see automatically the camera comes back up again. I didn't have to do any reconfiguration whatsoever. Since it's a dumb switch, it just automatically passes on that IP address to the camera once it finishes booting. So you might be asking, why exactly would you want to do this? Well, for example, by my garage, I already have an existing Ethernet drop that I've ran all the way out there for my Duo camera that's over the driveway. But I'm going to install this camera right next to it, pointing in the other direction down the side of the house. So instead of having to run an additional Ethernet cable all the way from my basement up into my garage, I can just install this PoE switch inside of my garage where I already have power there, and then it allows me to connect multiple cameras to a single Ethernet drop running back to the NVR itself. So this is great, again, if you have a location that you already have Ethernet in and you don't want to have to run multiple connections, but you still want to use power over Ethernet. But again, remember, you still have a hard limitation of 8 cameras or sensors on one NVR. All right, so now that we have the easy connection finished, let's look at setting up a device that's connected to your local home network. So for example, I've got my doorbell, which is still installed today on my front door. It's connected over Wi-Fi through one of my access points, and then I'm going to access it from the actual LAN port on the NVR versus one of the PoE ports. So when you connect a device on your same local network, it has to be on the same subnet. So I have multiple VLANs across my network, and one of the problems right now is by default, you cannot have cameras on different subnets from your NVR. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, then this does not apply to you for sure. This is more of an advanced topic. So there are some solutions, and I'll link them down in the description, that you can go in to allow you to have cameras on other VLANs. But again, I'm not going to cover it really for this particular video. All right, so to set up a camera on your local network, you're going to first need to know the IP address of the device. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and grab the IP address for my doorbell. Now, of course, you can do this in many different ways. You can grab this from your router or gateway, but the easiest way is, I think, inside of the app. So we're going to go ahead and click on the device, click the gear icon, click on the name of the device, and then under here it says IP address, click on that, and it's going to load up all the IP information for your device. So in my case, the device's IP address is 192.168.1.93. So you're going to need 3 pieces of information to set this up. You'll need the IP address of the device, and then you'll need the username and password. So in this case, it actually did automatically find the doorbell on my network. So that makes things even easier. So we're gonna need to click the modify icon since I'm not using the default password, and then we'll need to input the new password right here. Now, it's always a good idea to have a secure password, but it does get annoying when you have to enter it with your mouse. So now that that's all done, we'll click OK. And then after it's finished logging in, we should see the front doorbell appear on our list here. The image shows up, as you can see right here. And if I click the X and go back out, you'll see it shows up here on my main layout. So of course, this applies to any camera you have connected to your home network, like even wired or Wi-Fi devices. Now on to a quick advanced topic. If you happen to have a third-party camera that does support ONVIF, you should be able to add it into the NVR. I was able to successfully do this with a previous camera of mine, but I've heard it's hit and miss depending on the design and the manufacturer, so you might want to look it up online before you try this. If you wanted to set up an ONVIF camera, all we need to do is click on Settings, go to Channel, and then in one of your blank channels, you can click the plus button here. Then we can click Customize Adding Devices. So from here, we want to change the protocol over to ONVIF. Then you can enter your IP address, the port that you're currently using, and then the username and password. As long as all this information matches, you should be able to add a third-party camera into your ReoLink NVR. Again, you're going to probably only get basic recording out of this. You're not going to get any advanced features. I would check first before you do this on Google to make sure that you don't buy the NVR just for this particular camera. All right, so now that we've seen how to set up cameras on the NVR, let's hop over to see how we get this NVR set up in Home Assistant. All right, so before we hop in to see how we set up the ReoLink NVR with Home Assistant, real quick, just a reminder that you want to make sure you have your NVR and any cameras on your home network set up with either static IP addresses or statically assigned DHCP addresses. The easiest way to do this would be to go into your router or gateway, find out where it gives out your IP addresses, and there's typically a static setting or a reservation where you can set this up to automatically give out the same IP address to your device each time. This is important because if the IP address changes on a camera, then you will lose connection to the camera from the NVR, and you'll have to go back to the physical NVR with the mouse to fix it. You cannot set this up via the web interface. Same thing applies to your NVR. Either give it a static IP address on the NVR when you're setting it up, or give it a static reservation on your network. This will make it much easier to find it. And again, if that IP address changes, you'll lose the connection in Home Assistant. All right, so quickly, let's go ahead and get this set up. So again, we need to have the IP address of our NVR, which we got in the last step. You can also find this by using the ReoLink app. And then we need the username and password that we set up to get into our NVR. So to set up the integration, very simple. You don't need any additional steps. It's built into Home Assistant. Click Settings, go to Integrations, and click the plus button. Now your Home Assistant system might automatically detect this, but we're gonna add this manually. Then we're gonna search for ReoLink, and then we see ReoLink NVR/camera. So click that, and again, it's gonna ask us for the username and password, and then the host IP address that we figured out in the last step. So it'll automatically detect all of the devices that are currently connected to the NVR. So I've got the NVR itself, I've got my front doorbell, and I've got the RLC 1212A camera. Now, on here missing are my 2 driveway cameras because they're not currently connected, but I can always refresh the integration later on once I move this back downstairs. So click Finish, and then we're gonna go find the ReoLink NVR, and we see we've got 3 devices with 48 entries. So if we click the devices, we can go to the NVR itself and see what options we have. So you can change a lot of the options that you would normally be able to change only in the web interface or on the NVR. So you can go in here and you can enable or disable numerous configuration options like buzzers whenever there's an event, email, whether you want it to automatically upload to FTP site, or if you want to get push notifications. You can also verify the firmware here. And then you can also tell it whether or not you want it to record. You can actually disable recording right from here, which will turn off the 24/7 recording. Then you have your 2 connected devices here below. So if we click the front doorbell, we can actually go in and see all of its options as well. So you can actually select the quick reply messages on a doorbell. If somebody rings the doorbell and you don't answer it, you can select it from here, which is kind of nice. It'd be nice if you can customize that, but maybe that's coming in the future. You can, again, turn on or off recording for this particular device. You can activate the siren. And then under the sensors, this is where the power really comes in. So we have options for motion detection. So if it sees a motion event on there, you can use it to trigger something else like any other input. You can also trigger off of a ring, which they call visitor. So if somebody rings the doorbell, you can have it trigger something as well. Now, in my case, this is actually not using just motion detection, but it's also doing person detection. So when you will only get a notification here if a person is detected. And this is how you have it set up in the app. So if you have your doorbell set up or your camera, if it is equipped with onboard AI person detection, if it's set up to only notify or record on a motion event with a person detected, then this is only going to show a person detection, not just a general motion detection. And then we have additional options below, again, where we can adjust motion sensitivity, turn on and off infrared lights, change the timeout on the auto quick reply, record audio, change our status LED. Basically everything you can set from the app, you can pretty much set from right here. Then if we go back, we can do the same thing for my camera here. So again, it's saying motion detected because I don't have it set up currently for people detection. I need to go into the app and change that. You can also see the camera here. That's the thing I forgot to mention on the doorbell. You can see a current output from the camera as a stream. So if I click the play button here, it's gonna load up the stream and then I'll see live from the camera. So there we go. Now I can see the live feed coming straight from the camera. I can also activate or deactivate the floodlight if it's equipped like it is on this one. So as you can see there, you have a ton of options for what sensors you can bring in Home Assistant. So now you can add a lot of these items to your dashboard. You can add your cameras to your dashboard so you can see live streaming coming from the NVR. So one of the automations that I have set up is I have it when a person is detected by the doorbell and it's after dark, it automatically turns on extra lights. So the person knows that they've been detected. And then I also know if I'm in the house, if somebody's out front and it detects a person outside. You can also set up things like triggering those lights or setting off sirens if your alarm goes off. So the possibilities really are endless. That's really the beauty of Home Assistant, is that if you have a device that's compatible, you can pretty much bring in all those sensors and all that control and integrate it with any device you want. And that brings us to the end of our guide on setting up and integrating the ReoLink NVR with a range of cameras for a comprehensive security system. Now, of course, this is going to work with other types of ReoLink cameras and their other ReoLink NVRs. So a huge thanks goes out to ReoLink for sending me this NVR about a year ago so I could get used to it, and then recently sending me the new 4K camera for us to explore. I really appreciate that their products are open and let you directly integrate with other systems like Home Assistant. So if you're looking to enhance your home or business surveillance setup and want a large degree of flexibility, I highly recommend checking out these devices. Now, to make it easy on you, I've included links down in the description to all of the products I talked about today, so you can easily find and pick up any of the ReoLink devices that you saw here. So using those links not only helps you secure some great tech, but it also goes to support the channel so we can continue bringing you in-depth guides just like this. Before you go, if you're shopping around for cameras this Black Friday, I've got a playlist over here with all of my camera reviews and projects. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel by clicking our logo over here. Thank you for making it this far in the video. Your support means a ton to us, and it's what keeps this smart house growing. Thanks again for watching, stay smart, and I'll see you on the next video.